Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Brittany Flammer. I am a certified financial coach, and I share videos here on my channel all about budgeting and money saving tips for you and your family. Thanks for joining. I'm a minute or two late because I was figuring out technical stuff and I'm not good with technology. I have a new camera for my webcam and a new microphone, so I hope it's working. Give me a thumbs up when you join if you can actually hear me. You're supposed to be able to hear me. I tested it out, so it should work. Anyway, I share my personal budget here on the channel. And at the beginning of the month, I share what our budget is for that month. At the end of the month, I do a budget wrap up or a budget report showing you what we actually spent compared to what we actually budgeted. And I feel like I've said this the last several months. We spent a lot of money in August. So I'm going to pull up my spreadsheet and share with you our actual numbers, and I'll walk you through them. Let me know in the comments down below if you prefer spreadsheets, if you actually use spreadsheets, or if you use a budgeting app. I would love to know. I'm including a link in the chat to my Etsy shop where you can grab my budget template. But if you like apps, that's great. I just would like to know what people prefer. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And keep in mind, we are a family of 7. We've got 5 kids from 15 down to almost 6. So starting with our income, my husband, we budgeted $5,833. He took home $6,241. Now, my husband's a teacher. He gets paid on a salary. So usually it's the same every month, but I feel like there have been a lot of inconsistencies. Only we have some of our flex spending money taken out of our paycheck, but it's only 10 months of the year. And I couldn't remember, we start school in August here, so I couldn't remember if August they would have it taken out or not taken out. I wasn't sure if they counted it as summer or school year. So I went with the lower income amount when I budgeted, and we were pleasantly surprised when it was higher. Now, I probably could have done some research and figured it out, but I just planned on the lower, which is good because we spent a ton of money. So we got paid more than we were planning on, which is a good problem. And then I took home almost $2,000 from my business. This is from my coaching. I do one-on-one coaching. I sell my budgeting products in Etsy as well as YouTube AdSense revenue. Interest, we have lots of money in online savings accounts. So we earned $123 this month with income from interest on these online savings accounts. If you have questions on online savings accounts, let me know in the chat or in the comments. I've tried out a bunch. There are a lot of great ones out there I can recommend. So total income, $8,300. We're more than $2,000 over what we planned on. My business, we do not plan on me making money for my business. Anything we make, we're throwing towards house updates. We can finish this garage addition that we have been working on. It feels like forever. It's only been a year, but it feels like forever. So tithing, we paid more than planned because I made more money than planned. And we pay 10% off of our gross income, plus some fast offerings and humanitarian stuff. So we paid $1,175, which is $275 more than we planned. And I love paying more than we planned in this because that means we made more than we planned. Then moving on to our expenses, I start off with the fixed, kind of the boring, every month you pay these expenses. And then I move down to the more fun ones. So mortgage is fixed. We pay the same every year or every month, $1,376.70. Electricity, $23 for the month. Natural gas, we paid $91 for the month. Our city bill, we were way over budget. And that's because it's summertime and we have 3/4 of an acre and we have a lot of lawn that has to be watered, and we live in the desert. Now, they don't check the water meters every single month. So the last few months have been pretty low. So I thought maybe $225 would be enough. It was not enough. We spent $375. We have adjusted our sprinklers down a little bit. And now that we're coming to the end of the summer, we won't be watering as much. So our bill will be going down. So this is one of those expenses we went way over on this month. I'll show you how I'm going to handle that in a minute. Life insurance, this is my term life insurance. This is a monthly payment. There wasn't a discount for paying yearly, so we just do mine monthly, probably because it's such a small amount. My husband's, we get a discount for paying annually, so we do his annually. Car insurance was $101.91. Phone bill was $30 for the month. Our internet was $55 for the month. Gas, we stayed under budget for gas. We paid $188. Now, we did go over on piano and guitar. Our daughter took the summer off, so I did not budget any money for her for piano, but she did start back the very last week in August. So we paid for one lesson for her and then my son's guitar. So we went over budget there. Groceries, we went over budget, but I feel pretty good about this. My daughter's on the high school volleyball team, and as parents, we're in charge of a couple of meals for them. And so this budget included one meal for the girls for an away game. And once you add in their 4 teams, freshman, sophomore, JV, varsity, and coaches, ends up being almost 40 people. So we fed everyone and we got started back to school. So I'm feeling really good about that. Eating out, we did go over. This was all little things. I think we did Costco hot dogs with our kids one day. My husband and I went out on a date. I think my husband took one of our kids on like a daddy date. So we went over budget. And then miscellaneous, we were barely under budget, $24.90. I don't even remember what that was. If I scroll down, I can look to see. I had to buy a ticket for something, and then we bought a poster. So that was our miscellaneous spending. Back to school, I don't normally have this category. I put it in for August just for those miscellaneous expenses. We budgeted $72 just because that's what I had in our budget. We spent $80. Our kids' money budgeted $50. We spent $41.22, and I don't even remember where that very odd number came from. We pay them for doing jobs, and usually it's a round number. So I don't know where that came from. I should double check that. But we came in under budget. Babysitting, we paid our daughter to do some babysitting for us while I was getting some work stuff done. So total expenses, $3,229. So we were over $188. Now I don't worry about if I'm over. So I was over in our city bill. I don't worry so much if I'm over in a specific category. I like to look at the overall, after I've included everything in my budget, if I'm over or under. The specific categories when I plan for the next month. So now as I'm planning September's budget, I will maybe plan more in this category because I went over. But I focus mostly on the final at the very bottom, if I'm over budget or under budget for the entire month once all the categories are taken into account. So far I'm over 188, but I made an extra 400 there. So we'll keep going on. Debts, we don't have any. This is for outstanding debt. So technically we do have a mortgage, but I just include that in our monthly expenses. If we had outstanding credit card or any loans, this would be here. The savings is like our long-term savings and our sinking funds, our short-term savings. This is where we spent a ton of money and we went over budget in a few categories. I'm going to show you how I handle that. If you have categories you consistently go over in, let me know in the comments what they are. Lately, ours has been our house and kids, but our emergency fund, we didn't budget anything, but we did put $60 in there. That's just the interest that we earned on the amount that's in online savings. So we just let it accumulate in there. So we're now up to almost $16,600 in our emergency fund. We budgeted $50 for my husband. We put $50 onto his checking account. He didn't spend anything, so he has $918 in there. My fund money budgeted $25, put $25 into my account. I didn't spend anything, $104. It's amazing what being busy will do. You spend less. It feels like I don't have time to spend. Life insurance, my husband gets a discount for paying up front for a full year. So we set aside the money every month and just pay it once a year to get that discount. We budgeted $68, we put $68 in, but we haven't paid it yet. So we have $690 in there. House maintenance, we budgeted $125. We put $125 in and did not actually spend anything. I think I did. Oh, yep, I spent 150 and I just didn't enter that. Spent 150 there. So we have $11.66 left there. Vacation, we budgeted 150. We put in 163. This is the 150 that we budgeted plus the interest that we earned in that account. Didn't spend anything, so we have 537 left in there. Vacation, I already did that one. House updates, we didn't budget anything, but then my income, this is where my income goes. So you can see I took home almost $2,000. Some of that went towards tithing. The rest of that we put towards our house updates. We're building a garage. The exterior is just about done. We're going to start with sheetrock and flooring on the inside. But you can see we're getting kind of low on money. So we put almost $1,700 in there. We did spend $5,453. We paid someone else to do the installation. We have done all the siding ourselves, and we've had to buy like 5 times more caulk than we thought, and some paint for the siding, and then just miscellaneous stuff that comes up. So we are down to $9,600 in that account. Clothing, we budgeted 75, put 75 in. We spent 478. Back to school, I had anticipated back to school. We got soccer cleats and more shoes than I thought we were gonna need. Anyway, we went over budget. And my husband also, he's a teacher. He ended up buying a bunch of things, and I was not planning on that. So between him and the kids, we went over budget. So you can see here, we're negative 285. Now, there are a lot of ways to handle sinking funds. The way I handle our sinking funds is we have our main checking account, and then I have a separate online savings account for them. So this money each month, we transfer out of our checking and put into our savings account, that sinking fund account. And then throughout the month, I pay with everything on our credit card, and that accumulates. And then at the end of the month, I'll transfer over whatever money I spent back into our checking account to pay the bill. So we can't really go negative. So this shows that I'm negative 285. I'm going to have to pull that money from somewhere. So I'll show you how I do that in just a sec. Gifts, we budgeted 25, put 25 in. So we've now got $42 left in there. Medical, we budgeted 100, put 100 into it. Then we ended up spending $386. My husband got a pair of glasses, and my daughter got a pair of contacts. And it was like $1,100. My contacts are like $150 for the year. My daughter has a very strong prescription and has special contacts. It was like $600 or $700 for her contacts. And we were not expecting it to be that high. And my husband's glasses. So we used all of the money left on our flex spending plus spent $386. So we're down to $1,378 in here. Okay, Sherry, you like using templates. Your husband doesn't like to share personal data. Yes, almost all of the budgeting apps, some of them you can do manual entry, but they do link to your accounts, which most people like because it's easier, but then you have a lot of data out there. So I know a lot of people that are concerned with that. So spreadsheets are great for that. That's all great, Pamela. Supporting and helping a granddaughter and great-grandson on 2 Social Security checks. Having a fixed income is hard. We now make more than we have ever made. For years and years, our average take-home pay was about $2,000 or up to $2,500. But it's funny, we make a lot more money now, but it doesn't feel like it. Because your expenses rise, but that's great that you're helping grandchildren. So I was at medical expenses, almost $1,400 left there. Car expenses, we budgeted 75, put 75 in, didn't spend anything. We've got 77 in there. Christmas, we budgeted 0, didn't put any in, have 163 in there. Kids extracurricular, budgeted 400, put 400 in, spent almost $1,500. So we were over $1,000. I feel like the last 2 or 3 months I have said our kids are getting so expensive. Almost all of our kids' expenses, the bulk of them come in the fall. Here for middle school and high school, they have school fees. So we paid a couple $100 in school fees for 2 of our children. My daughter's main sport is volleyball. That's in the fall here. And even though it's for high school, we pay for that. I think we paid like $700 for the high school fee for volleyball. My son is big into soccer. He does competitive soccer, and that you pay for like the year in the fall. And that was like $1,500. They've never done it that way before. It used to be you pay one main fee in the fall, but then like the ref fees and the tournament fees are throughout the year. This year they decided to do it all up front, and I just wasn't expecting that. So we paid like $1,500 when I was planning on paying like $300 or $400. And we have another daughter that made a soccer team. She ended up paying several $100s for her that we had not planned on. So I've been upping every month. I've been upping how much we contribute, but we are way over budget. But I feel like we're mostly done with our kids' expenses for a few months. So we'll be able to accumulate. And I'll show you in a minute where I pull this money out of. My Roth IRA, we budgeted 400, put 400 in. My husband's Roth IRA, we budgeted 400, put 400 in. Mutual funds, we budgeted 100, put 100 in. So first of all, overall budget. Yes, I was over in some of our expenses in some categories. I'm not too stressed about that because our overall budget, we have an extra $175. So in theory, that's almost $200 I could put towards something. I like to have a cushion in our checking account. In the last few months, we've used up some of that cushion. So I'm just going to leave this $176 in our checking account to help build up that cushion again. But our sinking funds, you can see here, our clothing, we're over almost $300, and our kids' extracurricular, we're over $1,000. That money has got to come from somewhere. So what I like to do is I will pull it out of other sinking funds. So we've got money in our vacation fund. I'm going to pull out our vacation fund. So this, what it looks like is my husband and I have a chat. Where do we want to pull the money out of? And we actually did this before we signed up one of our daughter for soccer, and before we paid for something for volleyball. We had this discussion. We knew we were going to go over budget. So we knew we'd have to pull it out of somewhere. So we're going to pull out everything from our vacation fund. And then we are also going to pull out everything from our Christmas fund, because we actually, our Christmas, we use the credit card and we get cash back on our credit card. So all of our cash back is usually what our budget is for Christmas. I started at the beginning of the year setting aside some money for Christmas so we could use more than our cash back. But we're just going to use our cash back this year. And actually, we have more cash back than we've ever had before because we're doing this garage. We put everything we can on the credit card. So whatever our cash back is what we will spend for Christmas. So I've emptied our vacation fund. I've emptied our Christmas fund. We're still short a little bit. So I am going to take out of the medical fund, and I already did the math. We need like another $700. So this is how much I'm going to take out of medical. All of this extra from vacation, the medical, and Christmas will cover how much we are over. So what this means is I will now have to log into my bank account and transfer $537 from our vacation into our checking. And I will have to transfer $1,100 from our medical, and I'll have to transfer $163 from our Christmas sinking fund into our checking account to cover these expenses. And now I'll go back through and I'm just going to take these down to zero because I just emptied them. So that is how I handle the sinking funds. That's not the only way to do it. Some budgeting apps will let you pull out of one to another. Some people like to put all of their sinking funds into one account, and then they just track how much is in each one. So if one's negative, that's okay. This is how I do ours. I just want to show people, and this down here is where I track our spending throughout the month. So now that August is over, I look at these numbers and I will make adjustments for September. I've already got my September budget video listed. If there are any questions, what state am I in? Pamela asks. Our electric, water, gas, and sewage is about $400 a month. We are in Utah. We have solar panels we put on when we purchased our house. So our electric bill is a lot lower than most. That being said, I get reports like on how I do compared to others, and we are always well below the other people, our neighbors. They send out reports with your spending, the average spending near you, and then the average spending of, I'm not sure if it's a county or the whole state, must be the county. We're always well below everyone else. We have LED lights in, most of our appliances are gas, not electric. But our natural gas, we also are on an average payment plan. Different cities, different counties do it differently. Most places we've lived, though, let you do an average plan. Where we used to live in Arkansas, it was an average rolling plan. So it would take your last 12 months, give you the average. So each month your payments would change a little bit. Now, the way they do it where we live here is they just keep you pay the average amount, and then they readjust it a couple times a year. So our electricity just went from, we've been paying $91. I just got notified it's going down to $68 because we haven't been using as much natural gas. We will use more in the winter, so eventually it will go back up. But averaging it out is very helpful. But the solar panels, we're very conscientious about electricity usage. We keep our thermostat at 77 degrees during the day, 77 degrees all the time. It is desert here, so it cools off at night. So we open up our windows at night, keep them open through the night, in the morning. So that keeps our house pretty cool through the morning. So we try to use the AC as little as possible. In the winter, we keep it at 65, 66, which is pretty chilly in our basement for our kids. So we sometimes, if it's really cold, we have electric heaters we'll put in the rooms, or we just pile on lots of blankets. That's probably the biggest expense, is the AC and the heater for most people. Oh, you're in Idaho. Solar panels on the front of your house. Yeah, they're not pretty. For us, we got a couple of different quotes for our solar panels. And it was just a numbers game. They took our bills, and they said, this is how much it's going to cost to install them. And they gave us the breakdown. This is how long, based on your usage, this is how long it will take you to pay for them. And for us, it was like 8 years, and we plan on being in this house forever. So we had the cash to do it. So we did it. But yeah, otherwise, electricity is going to be a lot higher. And I've heard, at least where we are, they said rates are going up by like 30%. And it's probably only going to continue to increase. But minimizing electric usage, average payment plans help, so you don't go have a huge high bill one month, lower bill the next month. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from anyone live? I'd be happy to answer. Otherwise, leave a comment if you have a question in the future. I do my best to respond to them as soon as I see them. Occasionally they fall through the gaps. So if I don't respond, you're welcome to send me an email and I will respond there. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. I will see you in the next video.